Good evening. We're going to talk about Franklin Industries whistleblowing case in Chapter 3. My name is CLarsen. We don't have much time. Let's dive in. Natalie Garson is a CPA at Franklin Industries. Denny King is a department manager at Franklin Industries. And Roger Harris works with Natalie, but is also Natalie's best friend. Some time ago, before the case, Natalie discovered some embezzlement by Denny King, the department manager. It looks like he was paying from Franklin Industries, making payments to a company that turns out was owned by his sister, Vic. And through some internal audit findings, that money, that the payments being made to that company were then being funneled back to Denny personally. So it really looks like some embezzlement was taking place here. Natalie reported it to Stuart Masters, who was her superior, and was demoted shortly after reporting this to the company. She put a complaint in with Franklin Industries, and where the case begins is where she's just finding out that HR has ruled that she was not retaliated against based on what she brought to light, and that the complaint was dismissed by HR and that no embezzlement even happened. They dismissed everything and dropped it. And so she's fuming, she's upset. She's at a point where she's talking to Roger Harris, her friend at the company, wanting to get his advice on whether to continue this or not. And Roger gives her some advice saying that she should be careful about taking it further because her job is really in jeopardy. And because of the makeup of the leadership, the board, and the CEO, she may have a heck of a fight ahead of her. So she has some choices to make. And I wanted to weigh in on a few different questions from the case. What are her main arguments? Well, I think her main argument is this is morally wrong, and I have internal audit evidence that something happened, that Denny was making payments to a company that was owned by his sister. And it looks like those payments eventually get back to him personally. So how is this not embezzlement? She has a real case there if she were to walk through the findings with those that are in power at the company. What's at stake for the key parties? Natalie could lose her job. She's a key party. Her job is at stake. Denny King, the department manager, his scheme could be brought to light. So what's at stake for him? He could lose his job depending on what the board or the ownership or the leadership of the company decides. There could be a possible SEC investigation based on this because they're a public company and they're defrauding investors based on these payments being made. Some of the levers of influence that she might have is that she has the internal audit findings. She could walk through those and she can track the payments and where they go. And she also could prove that Denny's sister owns that other company and start to uncover the layers here. Her most powerful and persuasive response, in my opinion, is that Natalie knows that something took place. And now it looks like HR of Franklin Industries is turning a blind eye to this embezzlement. They've dropped everything, and they haven't really investigated. I wonder if they've even talked to the internal auditors that Natalie was working with. So Natalie does believe that she was retaliated against, and she could, with the leadership of the company, depending on what she decides to do, talk about how she may go to the SEC. She may file a claim. She knows this is wrong. She knows that nobody's trying to help her fix it, and she wants to think of the investors and make sure that they're not getting defrauded. If she decides not to go forward with this internally and going to the leadership, she could file a claim with the SEC under the whistleblower, the Dodd-Frank Act. And I feel like she does have sufficient standing because for a few reasons. One, that she's trying to prevent substantial injury to the investors, and I think that's true. Two, she believes that the entity is impeding the investigation to the embezzlement, and I believe that she could prove that HR has dropped everything. They have not looked further into it, and they should have. And three, I think that she could argue that she reported this internally 6 months ago, and now she's just finding out from HR that they've dropped everything. No action had been done in that time, it seems. And she could stand on that as well. So I feel like she has some standing there depending on what she decides to do. She has a tough decision ahead of her, but I believe that either way, she could bring to light some things that have happened that are wrong. Hope you enjoy this and read the case and Thanks for your time.